Hello everyone, hello and welcome back to my channel. And say hello also to little Bubage. This is Block, and I am Sarah Streisand, and I am here to tell you a little bit about the very surprisingly mundane life of a witch. For those of you who are coming here for the first time, I am Sarah Streisand again, and I am a Christian witch, content creator, writer, educator, specifically also a writer of this book right here, Discovering Christian Witchcraft, which, if you heard the term Christian witch and said, girl? Don't worry, I understand, I totally get it, and this book pretty much is a crash course through that entire concept, from the Bible verses you're no doubt thinking of right now, to European folk magic and witchcraft lore, and everything else in between, so check that out if you are interested. Also, if you are interested in these topics on the general and want to hear more about them every week or so, definitely go ahead, like the video, ring the bell, and subscribe to this channel if you are new. And if you're coming back, welcome back. Thank you so much for sticking around. And remember that if you want to see these videos 2 weeks early and ad-free, you can always head over to my Patreon and see all the good stuff we got over there every week as well. And speaking of my Patreon, this week I kind of opened up the call a little bit because I got a lot of things I could talk about, but it's good sometimes also to get a read on the room and get some other ideas that other people want me to talk about as well. If you have a topic you want talked about, go ahead and slap it in the comments on this video. But this person was saying, okay, I would really like to see your daily routine, TBH, because surely a witch has to have something witchy going on, right? And in the day-to-day life, right? We might imagine what a witch's life would look like on the regular. I took up this topic today specifically because it's a good opportunity to talk about the fact that actually, for a lot of witches, I mean, unless being a witch is like your full-time job, it's not really that much going on, one could say. At least not the way you think. And that's because how witches think of magic changes how it shows up every day in their life. So for me, right, magic is something of a regular kind of spiritual hygiene, self-improvement kind of tool. I don't generally use magic for all the stuff that you might normally expect people to use it for, right? All the beauty spells, the money spells, the love spells, the, hexes and banishments and bindings and curse breaking and all these other kinds of things. I am someone who, as you'll see in a second, is pretty busy. I'm in my post-workout jamboree here just because that's when I got time today to sit down and chat. But given that I mostly use magic for self-improvement and also for a bit of a kind of anchoring situation, right? My monthly money spells that are kind of more like a one-man sermon than anything else, and also, right, my kind of daily tarot with God and stuff. Outside of that, I don't really do much because I don't need to do glamour spells, money spells, love spells, this and that, up and down, all around. For funsies, I'll take you through a day in my life, and it starts with, so at the very, very, very start of the day, like before I'm even conscious really and have any idea what's going on, it's summertime, which means I've got a garden going, and it gets hot. It gets hot. On days that it gets over 80 degrees and it's going to be sunny, I need to go out like first thing in the morning and water my plants. And that way the plants have water throughout the day and also their roots aren't getting too hot, which I notice has been a massive killer for my plants in the past. This year at least, the cucumbers are looking good, the peppers are looking beautiful and lush and nice, the tomatoes are making a whole tomato jungle out there. It's kind of crazy. After that, obviously, gotta get ourselves put together looking cute and professional for class. On this day that I was filming a little bit of this for y'all, it was a day much like today. It was a Monday, which means I got the same schedule I got today, and that's a schedule of doing, at this point in time now, some summer classes, because I do, again, I'm an educator, I do teach, doing some summer classes, doing some, book orders for the many, many other books that I've got on the shop, right? All those other kinds of things. And before I leave the house, I at least try my best, if I haven't accidentally put off some work that I needed to do, to talk to God first, right? Do my daily 3-card tarot pull. This is in a tarot planner that I designed. If you are interested in something like a Christian witch specific tarot planner, I've got another one coming out for 2026. The 2025 one is also still available, but we're like over halfway through the year, so understandable if you would rather just wait for the 2026 one, that's fine. I do my 3-card pull. It kind of tells me a little bit about what God is expecting me to focus on, or what he wants to tell me for the day. And that kind of, sets a vibe, sets a tone for the day. Then I'm going out, I'm doing my thing, teaching my classes. In between the classes and during the breaks, I might not take a break at all and instead try to like micro work, basically get in a few words of other stuff like Patreon posts or book orders, right? Doing the tarot pulls, doing the dice rolls, things like that, just so I can kind of lessen what I got to do when I get home. Because when I get home, there's really not that much time to screw around, right? I like to go to the gym with my mom. And so, you know, if I'm not working out at home, I'll go to the gym with her. We typically try not to go too late, which means I really gotta hustle and make sure that book orders are packed and everything else before I head on over there and just do some body maintenance, right? In a way, one might call this witchcraft, if we think about it, especially if someone is very fond of working with spirits like, say, Saint Michael the Archangel, or King Belial, one of the Ars Goetia, or any of these other spirits that are really big on physical activity, strength, you know, aesthetics, and other things like that. It is all interconnected at the end of the day. Your physical, along with your mental, along with your spiritual, they all work in tandem, right? So for me, staying in good shape, eating right, and all these other things is a good way for me to keep my energy and focus up to begin with, to do some of those more witchy things, like doing the tarot pulls and stuff for book orders. I guess we can call that magic too, right? It is. I'm doing tarot readings. I'm asking God for things. But God, by this point of the day, speaking of eating right, it's just been busy. This is my actual first week of teaching the summer classes, and I'm trying to kind of find the balance in my schedule, and it's rough. This that you're seeing here with me eating this little dip, this is the first time I'm eating in the day. And by this point, it is 4 o'clock. My breakfast was an energy drink, and that's about it. However, I will also remind y'all that I am a kitchen witch. So, yeah, this dip that I'm eating is kind of like a tzatziki sauce in a way. It's got fresh dill, fresh mint from the garden that I am growing outside. It's got garlic, the dairy itself, right? All these different things that I actually put this together for, like, a cookout. We were kind of like not celebrating 4th of July, but just kind of pouring one out for the State of the Union on Friday. This was kind of a dip geared towards communication, right? Dill, mint, all these kind of light, airy things, and dairy being associated with the moon and emotion. This was about good communication and good interpersonal connection, which is what my intentions were as I was making it, and what I was blessing it with and invoking into it and asking God to bless it with, and so on and so forth. So there is a lot of magic in the food. I mean, eventually I do have to eat, and a lot of the magic that I need in the day does come from the stuff I'm doing here, if I don't have the time to do something like my money spells where I do this big sit-down hullabaloo. And by this point, there's no energy left to work. There's no energy left to work, so we just kind of cool the day down with learning some new hobbies if we can. I have been picking up drawing again. So we kind of got a side-by-side here of how I was drawing before, and then like day one of kind of, you know, picking up a new drawing book and kind of trying to figure out this kind of stuff. So, you know, at the end of the day is when I work on my personal stuff, play some games, read some books, do new hobbies like art and like drawing and all that, before I go to bed very, very tired to start it all over again. But yeah, as you can see, there's really not a lot going on in terms of like doing active magics. My active magics are, again, more pinpoints, kind of rhythmic cycles for the month. The money spell, the occasional moon spell. If I'm really feeling a moon spell, I'll do a moon spell. I don't usually do moon-based magic, though, because I don't really... Unpopular opinion as a witch, I don't really care about moon magic. I don't really care for it or care about it. I do try to do tarot pulls for it and focus on like the things that I'm trying to accomplish on a new moon, the things that I'm trying to gain on a full moon. But if I'm going to do a spell, 9 times out of 10 for a moon, it's more just like a very centered prayer, maybe making a meal, maybe setting out some jewelry or something for certain moons, and kind of infusing it that way. But rarely is it like some whole grand ritual like you might see on Witch Talk or something. I don't do stuff like that because that's entirely unnecessary. I don't need all of that to get into the magical zone. I don't need this insane setup. Sometimes I see them on Witch Talk, those huge setups that just... they look like they take more time to set up than actually get into and do, and I'm not about that. Other witches have different things, though. Other witches do things different ways, and they have an entirely different routine that they do. They have an entirely different situation. They're doing spells of giant caliber like every other day, or even every day, or even twice a day. They're always doing spell work. They do spell work for jobs even. They do spell work for other people, right? Okay, right? If that's their life, if that's what they're doing, that's fine. That's not my life. That's not how I do things. That's not what I need to do. There's a reason I don't do spell work for hire. It's just not something that makes any sense in my practice or in my life. That doesn't mean that I have not done big spells like Return to Senders, hexes, or other things before. I definitely have, at God's behest, right? God has, been like, hey, it's time to do X, Y, and Z. And I've definitely pulled out all the stops because God said it was time to do so. And glory be to God. And thanks be to God, they worked out very well, right? When God says, hey, pull out Psalm 109, you know that he's going to go handle it. But that's not an everyday thing. It's not every day that I have to go light someone up. It's not every day that I have to go, do all these spells for a new dress or like a new whatever. It's just not stuff that I'm generally doing. That's it. That's the whole honest truth. By all means, let me know in the comments. Is that what you expected? Is it not what you expected? What I'm hoping is that this takes some weight off your shoulders, that you don't think that in order to be a witch, you have to be slinging spells every single day. Because you really don't. You really don't. Spiritual burnout is real, and you do not need to be doing this kind of junk. I live a very magical life. I live in a place that feels like a little fancy fairy forest in a way, right? I live a life that is good, is fun, is happy. That makes me feel rich, even if I'm not some like Jeff Bezos with $1 bajillion. I don't need that to be rich. The witchcraft I do has taught me that I am already rich without needing to have and gain and get more stuff. Magic for me just comes through presence, through communion, through existing, through researching, through especially stuff like astral travel and speaking with different spirit guides, right? And all of the other spiritual journeys, self-improvement things that I do that I have other stuff to write about in the future, trust. But yeah, let me know your thoughts, and I will see you guys next time. See ya!